Hi, everybody. My name is Joel Soto, and I'm really happy to say hello and present to everybody today. Before we begin, let's go ahead and make sure that we're in pair share partners. So without talking, just make awkward eye contact with each other and look at your pair share partner. Great. So my name is Joel. I'm really happy to be presenting today. All right, so let's begin here. Everyone, can you look up here on my screen? This is the big screen right here. It says, what is explicit direct instruction? Now, the very next line, I want you to read with me. But before we begin, the reason I want you to read with me is because when you're the students, there's different things that we need to do to participate, to stay with me. And during these webinars, sometimes we kind of turn off a little bit. We have our cell phones on, and we're kind of like, might not be focused. So definitely want you a little bit focused, just sort of looking here, and of course, not talking down to you. I'm just giving you ideas on what the student experience might be like. So let's go right here and let's do choral reading. Let's read this first sentence together, and you're just going to read it out loud to yourself in your beautiful voices. Let's go ahead and read it out loud to me. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Explicit direct instruction is a research-based plan for creating and delivering well-designed and well-taught lessons. EDI, beautiful, good reading, everybody. Well done, good reading. Really, when we're doing EDI, it's first time instruction, right? If you like to do discovery and group work, great, keep doing that. But with our philosophy, we're always very much like, let's teach something first. One of the times we're working with our teachers, a teacher came up to me and was like, what, Joel, I really like group work. I like when my students work together and stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, that's great. Keep doing it. But I really feel that we should do a first layer of instruction because students' background knowledge will be different. And sometimes when we do group work too soon, it becomes a 5-minute discussion on what color highlighter or what color marker to use on the poster they're making or something. When we do EDI, let's go to our first bullet point. Let's go to read together. Designed to produce at least 80% student success. 80% student success is what we're looking for because, not everybody's going to get it the first time where there's always exceptions. Someone's having a bad day, English learners, special needs. There's always something else going on. And those 20% is really the group that we're going to do our in-classroom remediation, right? We're going to pull them out a little bit and say, hey, let's talk for a minute. Let's talk about what was going on there, and let's figure that out. I'm going to read this one. Works with all grade levels and disciplines. One of our most favorite EDI teachers is also a coach, and they teach American baseball. And they got like some fancy award for being a really good coach in the West Coast of the United States. And they used explicit direct instruction. It just works for everything. Let's go to the third bullet point. Let's read together. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Students learn concepts, even if there's some sub-skill errors, 100%. We love the idea of focusing on that conceptual development, the big idea, the aha moment. Sometimes the sub-skills are missed. And I know teaching year 3 for myself, there's many times I'd be like angry and upset with that year 2 teacher. Like, why did you teach that? But odds are they did, and it just kids forget, and something else was going on. Or maybe it was missed. Let's go here, and I know this is crazy to think, and this one's kind of a fun one, and I like to explain this one. But let's read this one together. 1, 2, 3, go. Increases motivation, improves attendance, encourages more students to turn in homework, and reduce discipline problems. So here at DataWorks, we go to classrooms, we do lesson demonstrations, we do lesson modeling. When we go into classrooms and we do our engagement norms, when we interact with our students in this fantastical way, which I'm going to share with you in just a few moments, one of the greatest things we've ever seen is students look at each other, or when we leave, when the lesson's over, they look to each other and they say, oh my gosh, are we going to do it like this again tomorrow? They enjoy that interaction. One of my favorite teachers, and of course I'm biased, one of my favorite teachers who I happen to be married to does EDI. That was one of the prerequisites of our wedding. No, I'm just joking. She did it before me. um, she did EDI, and she did EDI before it was cool. And her class, she was a year 3 teacher. Her class was always gobbled up by the year 4 teachers. They always say things like, "Wow, you are so lucky to have that great class. Wow, I can't believe how lucky you got." Well, of course, she's a great teacher and she has great procedures and she does other things like getting to know the students, like that metacognition. But she was also a great believer of explicit direct instruction. She had a lot of English learners and she had a lot of challenging students. So as you know, when you're a super awesome teacher, you get a lot of challenges thrown at you because you can handle it. So um, for us, it's motivation. Our students actually will interact with us and we'll see their eyes blink. It improves attendance. One of my favorite students of all time, his name's Kareem. And, he was very challenging and I had to give him a Skittle. Basically, that's a type of candy. I'm not sure you have Skittles in Australia. They're probably called like Skettles or something. I'm just joking. I don't know. But I had to give him a little piece of candy every 15 minutes for like, man, you're sitting still and you're participating in lesson. Here's a candy. Here's a Skittle. And I know I probably shouldn't do that, but I was at my wit's end. There came a point where I stopped giving him Skittles because he was participating in the lessons. There's a lot of metacognition that went into it. I made him kind of a leader and I did a lot of conversations with him. But I know for a fact he would tell his mother, who had partial custody of him, like, I got to get to school. I got to get up. I got to go. And so she was definitely being encouraged by her kid to go to school. And I know that sounds kind of terrible, but that's just what the situation he was in. They turn in homework because they practiced the skill in class. They're not learning through homework. They're just simply rehearsing the skill with independent practice as it should be. And it reduces discipline problems. Before I could think of anything else to do, before I can get myself in trouble, I'm so busy engaged with this lesson. I don't have a few moments to think of something horrific or nefarious to do. I'm participating. Let's go here to my next slide. And we're going to get ready for our first checking for understanding question. But before we go there, look here, everyone. This is our information processing model. Okay. And I have 3 points here, and I wish this is a little bit bigger, but it's not. But we're going to have to work with this one here. We have sensory memory, we have working memory, and we have long-term memory. The truth of the matter is when you drive yourself to work every day, unless you have like a Tesla or something really fancy, your brain's almost on autopilot. You're using some old habits to get to work. Maybe with your instructional practices, you're using some old habits and stuff. Well, that's just the way our brain's wired. It's really hard to process new information. It's really hard to process new information. And we have to figure out ways to process this information. Here's how our memory retention is done. It says memory retention is achieved through, let's read it together. 1, 2, 3, attention, rehearsal, repetition, mnemonics, and through visual and auto stimuli. Everyone, I know for a fact you might have lost your keys before. You lost your car keys, right? And in the morning, I'm looking for my car keys. So the next time I place my car keys down on a bench or something, I'll say out loud to myself, I put my car keys on the front door, in the foyer or front door, in the front door desk that I have. And then maybe I'll say something like, I boom or blew up my front desk. I'm creating multiple pathways. If I say boom, I make the sound for it. If I make a hand gesture for boom, I made a way to remember. If I actually did it, I made a way to remember. If I say it out loud or say it to someone else, I made a way for me to remember. So that way it's not stuck on the tip of my tongue, but I've created 4 or 5 different pathways to remember where I put my keys at. This is just the way our brain remembers things. But it gets even cooler because we know we only have about 30 seconds to work with to try to do something with this. So we're constantly doing interactions. It says right here, memory system includes sensory memory, working memory, and long-term memory. So if I teach you a gesture today, which I will teach you a gesture today, a good one, a friendly one that you can use every day, I'll teach you a friendly gesture. It's going to provide long-term memory. It'll get to there. And our overall goal is to turn short-term memory into long-term memory. That's all we're doing. EDI is just a systematic approach of, I'm going to do some instruction so my kids can remember. Now, for your own edification, to help you remember, let's go ahead and take a 1-minute break. We're going to take a 1-minute break where you're going to pair share what's one little aha moment that you have, one aha moment that you have so far in this presentation. And once again, we're doing this so that we're going to help remember, because if I'm saying it out loud to my partner, there's something I'm going to take with me because we've created an extra pathway, haven't we? Let's go ahead and stop there for 1 minute starting now. Pair share, go. Okay, we'll go 10. All right, 5. All right, everyone, I hate to cut you off. 1, 2, eyes on me. Let's get back to that. Normally I would call out to someone, but let's just go ahead and skip that for right now. I will call out someone in just a few moments, but we have to get to the good stuff though. There's 2 things I have to bring up that are super critical. And this isn't necessarily DataWorks research. This isn't necessarily EDI research, but I have to bring this up to you. So in my family, I made a decision to go into education, and everyone else is like, I was the first in my family to go to college, which I'm really awesome and happy about and stuff. But once I did that, everyone else did it too, right? They went into medical, welding, and other fantastical, great things. And so one day, I was the world's greatest teacher. True story, world's greatest teacher. I'm teaching this fantastic lesson, and all the kids are just with me. They're excited. The bell rings, and they're all like, "Oh," like super sad and disappointed. So my dad has a barbecue with all their brothers and sisters and nephews and nieces, and I go there and I share with them what poor decisions my family made not going into education. My niece is a nurse. And I'm like, oh, that's okay, but I'm changing lives. You're helping people, but I'm really making a change for the world, right? So I'm feeling really good about myself, and I'm like 2 bottles of wine in, and letting everybody know what poor decisions they make and what a great teacher I am. So a couple of days later, I'm back in school, and what happens is I'm like, oh guys, hey, remember that one really cool lesson I taught? And remember we were talking about this and we're talking about that, and they all looked at me and their eyes blinked really hard, like they're really working to remember. And they simply couldn't remember what I taught. I forgot about the curve of forgetting. Right here on this little graph here, I know it's a little bit small, but this little graph is called the curve of forgetting. Some of you might have done like Cornell notes when you were in college or high school. Secondary. The curve forgetting is definitely about, if I'm teaching something for the first time, I have to come back to it the very next opportunity I can. Hopefully the next day, but maybe that Friday, then go to Monday, but as soon as I can. And then I only have to touch on it for a few minutes. Now, here in my graph, it says 10 minutes, but if it's like if it's kindy, year 1, year 2, it's only a few minutes, but I have to touch on it no matter what. I have to go back and touch on it again, just for a few minutes. I know that's tough to find a few minutes of time. However, it makes our teaching more effective. So whatever curriculum you're using, if you notice that they're not doing periodic review, you're going to have to take it upon yourself to just jump in there and say, you know what, I'm going to have to touch on what I just brought up. Otherwise, every student in your class will look at you, blink really hard, and not remember. When we begin our instructional time with our students, I know a lot of times we have like we have to take attendance because that's legislation. We have to worry about that. And sometimes our beautiful teachers that we have, they want to do show and tell, and they want to talk to the kiddos and get that stuff going. When we were doing online learning, we noticed that, and this is called the primacy recency effect. The second we start a session with you right now, we know we have to start right away and get into the instructional moment, get into the big idea, to the aha moment, the concept development. And this is what this right here, this is called the primacy recency effect. In other words, students, let's get ready. Let's get to our learning position and let's go. We're going to get started right now, because we know that we only have a few minutes to work with our students. Here in my graph right here, it says we have 40 minutes. That's an adult. for kindy year 1, 2, 3, it's only like 20 minutes at the most. But the really nice thing about this one is, or the primacy recency effect, is that we get our second wind. We get a second wind towards the end. And that's when we're going to do closure. And you see this little gap right here, this downtime? This downtime is really designed for guided practice. Guided practice. We want to teach the concept as soon as we can. We want to share that with them. We want to give them the concept development. We want to give them some gestures to remember. We want to show them the examples. I'm going to work the example. You're going to work the example. And by the time they're working the example by themselves, with you watching them, of course, guided practice, well, that's when they're at that low ebb. And then their energy comes back up and they're ready to do something else. Great, guys, in your own words. And then we do our closure. Let's stop there for a moment. I've shared with you the primacy recency effect and the curve of forgetting. We're going to stop there for just a moment. Let's do a 1-minute pair share. And then Miss Redfern, I want you to pick at random, not now. Don't pick the person you're going to call on. Wait till after, because we asked the question first, then we prepare someone at random, right? Never pick someone at random, then ask the question. We always ask the question first to everyone. So Miss Redfern, you will pick one person to unmute themselves and share with everybody else. Let's spend 1 minute doing that, starting now. And the question, of course, is one takeaway that you have from either the primacy recency effect or the curve of forgetting. 1 minute, go now. All right, eyes front, back straight. Miss Redfern, go ahead, unmute yourself and have one person shout out, please.
Yes. We all agreed that we looked at the curve of forgetting and the importance of teaching the concept within the first 20 minutes. We teach year 5s and 6s, so yeah, just getting the concept development taught within 20 to maybe 30 minutes with year 6s, and then having them into the guided practice within that time frame. And we noted the peak again for the closure time of the lesson, and thought that was interesting.
Yes, very good. Thank you so much for sharing. I really appreciate that. Okay, everyone, great. Next up, we have this fantastic brain research that we talked about. Let's put this all together now. Everyone, look up here. This is our engagement norms. Once again, guys, this is what you're doing already. And I've done this workshop a couple hundred times, and of course to larger groups of people. And I'm always like, everyone look up here, pronounce with me. And my running joke is because, people spend money to have presentations at their school sites and stuff. And I always make this joke like, hey, everyone, I know what you're thinking. You asked this very handsome, chubby Hispanic guy to come and present to you, and they're sharing with you, pronounce with me. Really? And I'm like, hear me out, though. Hear me out, please. Pronounce with me. Pronounce with me is literally Pronounce any there's 3 reasons why we do pronounce with me. If you're taking notes, 3 reasons we do pronounce with me. High leverage academic words. Determine. Ladies and gentlemen, when I've gone into classrooms and I say, everyone, this word is determine. Determine means to figure out. A long time ago, when I would do popcorn teaching, I would say, who knows what this word is? Well, what happened if some kid would yell out, oh, that's determine. Well, if that's the first time someone has heard that word, it gets stuck in their brain. So I do a lot of pre-pronouncing. I pronounce with me high leverage academic words. Next thing I do is words with multiple syllables. Words with multiple syllables. Look at my example right here. My example is engagement. Everyone look up here. This word is engagement. Maybe I'll do something fancy like backward syllabication. Guys, look at here. This is mint, gauge, in. Engage, in. Let's put it all together. Engagement. Any way I want to do this a little bit morphology, right? Pronounce with me. Words, third reason, words with multiple meaning. Sometimes I have English learners in my class, and I'll say, today we will interpret a diagram. If I said interpret a diagram, some of my students are thinking, today I'm going to help my mom at the grocery store or at the post office. Well, that's the meaning that they know. That's the meaning that they've attached to that word. So I do pronounce with me. High leverage academic words, words with multiple syllables, words with multiple meaning. Once again, I don't know what their background knowledge is, so I'm not going to take a guess. I'm going to say, everyone, look up here. This word is engagement. Pronounce with me. Engagement. Engagement. And I do track with me and read with me. Now, in the United States, they have this thing called the American Reading Panel. And they said, when you're explaining language, you're supposed to use phonemic awareness, phonics, and whole words. Track with me is one of those fantastic ways of doing whole words. Everyone look up here. This is student engagement. I'm going to say it first, and I want you to go ahead and use your pointing fingers. Look at me. So let's see, everybody, let me see your pointing fingers. Everybody point to the board, point to this word right here. This is student. Everybody point. Student engagement. I'm going to read it first, and then you read with me. Student engagement. You read it with now? Student engagement. Read by yourself, student engagement. Read to your partner, student engagement. Oh my gosh, guys, you're doing such a great job. Maybe you have 5th or 6th graders, and they're year 6, year 5, and they're pushing back. They're like, seriously, you want me to point to my handout or point to the board? Metacognition. Guys, I know it sounds crazy, but when you point to something, when you point to the word, it actually helps you read better. I know that sounds crazy. You're just gonna have to believe me on this one. Whatever you like to use for metacognition, whatever connection you have with the students. I like to use reverse psychology, guilt. Whatever, candy. Whatever I got to do to make it come across to them. So pronounce with me, track with me, read with me. Okay, let's stop there. We're going to pause for just 1 minute, very tight, 1 minute. Teachers, I want you to share with your partner right now, which one of these, pronounce with me, track with me, read with, which one's really working for your kiddos, and give them an example. So 30 seconds per partner. Start now, please. Go now. Five. All right, everyone, please, let's come back to this. 1, 2, eyes on me. Now, I'm not going to do a call out, but the next time I will do a call out. Look here, everyone. This is a kindy, basically a year 1 lesson. We talked about 3 engagement norms. Watch me. I'm going to pretend you're my students. Look here. Before we begin, this is what we're going to be doing today. And this word is identify. Identify. Identify means to find. If I say identify, you say find. Identify, find. Identify, find. Identify means find. I will identify my car keys by looking through my keys, and I'll have an example of that. Always have a sentence ready to go for a new word. Always have a sentence for a new word. Now check this out. All right, everyone, I'm going to get ready to call on you. And when I call on you, I want you to say identify means find. And if you can, use it in a sentence. That's differentiation with a question. Everyone's always talking about differentiation. How do you do it? How do you do it? You can do differentiation by a question. Everyone, when I call on you, get ready to answer. I want you to say identify means to find or make up your own sentence. All right. You could do a pair share. We'll talk about pair share in just a few seconds. So I've reduced the linguistic demand of the lesson. Okay, just very quickly, I taught them a new word and I tell them how to use the word. I'm going to call on them to share with me that new word. And then now I'm going to do some track reading. Everyone look up here and let's get ready to track. At this time, everybody, I want you to track with your nose. Okay, put your hands behind your back, track with your nose. Whatever you need to do, to make it funny. Everybody, let's use your pointing fingers. Let's go ahead, point. And I want you to read with me. Everyone, let's use your left eye today to read with me. 1, 2, 3. Whatever you need to do to just engage them, grab them, whatever metacognition you like to use for your students, keep doing it. But we're doing it though, right? Track with me. I'm going to read first. We will identify characters in the story. I don't have to identify characters yet. I don't have to tell them what it means yet because my concept development that's coming will do that. We will identify characters in a story. Everybody read it with me now. We will identify characters in a story. Everyone, my A partners, read it to my B partners. We will identify characters in a story. B partners, read it to my A partners. We will identify character stories. All right, everyone, get ready to answer what we are going to do today. Then at random, I call on 1 or 2 or 3 people. Sometimes I fake the sticks a little bit, and I call on sort of my I don't want to say weaker students, but my students who are English learners or who are English learners to sort of give them some confidence. Oh, what are we going to do today? We will identify characters in a second. I'll do 2 randoms and a volunteer. Who wants to tell me what we're doing today? Oh my gosh, that's so good. Thank you so much for sharing. That's pronounce with me, that's track with me, and that's read with me. And I love doing gestures. Now, I like to talk with my hands, but sometimes I like to do gestures. Let me show you my example of gestures. I go back to this lesson right here. Oh my gosh, everyone look at here. This is what we're going to learn today. Track with me, read with me, right? A character is a person, animal, or thing in a story. Characters talk or do something. I have them read with me. I have them track with me. Now they're reading by themselves. Okay. I'm going to go to full screen so that way you can see my hands. Do you see my hands? Everyone, a character can be a person. Everyone point to yourself, person. Animal, do the animal sign. Thank you for doing the animal signs, everyone. You're all wearing black shirts today. That's great. Or a thing in a story. I did the gestures with them, right? And it gets really cool. So, because that way I say we have the definition, we're reading the definition to each other, and then I can have them do partners and they can do the gestures with each other. Okay, great. That's my gesture. And I do pair share. Look at me, everyone. I'm clapping. I love pair share. I'm clapping because I love to clap, but I also love pair share. The reason why I love pair share allows that beautiful 15 to 20 second processing time that everyone's always talking about. Processing time. Well, but you and I both know that when we're in our classrooms, we can't just we can't say, all right, guys, a character is a person, animal, or thing in the story. We got to keep going. We can't stop because they'll fill in the silence, won't they? So for us, we love pair shares. Everyone, let's get ready to pair share. When you pair share, I want you to say a character is a person, animal, or thing in a story. Look at here, everyone. See A, B, and B to A? I have labeled pairs because what happens in real life, there's always one dominant person who will take over the conversation. You can go ahead and look at your partner really weird right now if you want to, because odds are there's one person who always talks a little bit more than the other, and that's okay. It's like, especially if I'm like really tired and they can just do all the talking. But For us, I need my students to talk. I need them to say the new academic language, the new concept, the new big idea. I need them to rehearse the new language and that new the new academic language to reduce not only the linguistic demand of the lesson, but their anxiety levels. I really want to participate in my lesson, but I don't know if I can say that word right. Identify. So if I can't really share in this lesson, I'm going to act out. I'm going to push back. I'm going to go, or worse, I'm going to, drop my pencil on the ground and go to the bathroom, find other reasons why not to be here. Before I ask my student a question, I'm going to teach them something first. I love pair share. And if your pair shares don't work, it's pretty simple why they're not working. When you go into pair share, you have to give them a specific mission. All right, my beautiful students, when you go to pair share, I want you to tell your partner, identify means to find, or use it in a sentence. All right, let's get ready to go. A partners, tell B partners. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. And teachers, that whole classroom is yours. You own every inch of that. So that's the moment you sort of walk around for a few moments just to hear the answers. You know what? And quite frankly, if there's several wrong answers, as much as you want to sort of jump in there and provide immediate feedback, you really can't, because that pair shares are supposed to be like 30 seconds, 45 seconds, a minute long. Now, of course, I'm doing a little bit different with you all because you're professional learners, right? Right? Professional learners. Thumbs up, we're professional learners. So you're all professional learners. So we're doing a good job. Okay, beautiful. For pair share, we always have an attention signal to pull them out of pair share. Now, teachers, I know you already have lots of attention signals to make them focus up again. We're humbly suggesting you have a pair share to bring them out of, we have an attention signal to bring them out of pair share. Have a special one for that. When you do have your attention signals, I humbly recommend that the entire school might have one, and then either your grade levels or something. One of the coolest things I've ever seen was a principal came up and said, class, and everybody yelled, yes, yes, because that's just what all year sixes, year 6, year 5, the whole school knew that was the attention signal. That's what it was. Let's look here. And we're going to get ready for our next one, our next pair share. This is whiteboards. I love using whiteboards. Whiteboards are not just for math, it's for ELA. And quite frankly, if you're a fan of universal design lessons, UDL, one of the key components of that is allowing students to express themselves in different ways. Well, the fastest, quickest way to identify themselves, or to express themselves, is to write something on the whiteboard. And not only that, and here's the most important part about whiteboards. Whiteboards aren't really for the students. They're for you. Whiteboards are the quickest, fastest way for you, the teacher, to get an answer from all of your students at one time. Everyone, let's go ahead and write down what a character is. 1, 2, 3. Let's get it on your whiteboards. 1, 2, 3, and get ready to share your answer with me. 1, 2, 3, chin it. Show me your answer. Show me your answer. Okay, great. And at that point, you'll know whether or not you can proceed with the lesson. Okay, so guys, my boss, John Hollingsworth, and Dr. Sylvia Ibarra, fantastic people, organic, great farmers, just absolutely great people. One of the things they tell me is that, Joel, don't talk about politics. Don't talk about religion on webinars. So I'm going to talk about religion. The devil's real, and its pronouns. Look here at my last point. It says complete sentences, public voice, academic vocabulary. Well, the truth of the matter is our students will give us the most minimum answer humanly possible. They'll say yes, no, A, B, just the smallest words possible, instead of saying the full academic sentence. Now, Another great reason for complete academic sentences, and this is something I can say because I don't work for your school. Uh, I think for the most part, the only time my students will rehearse the new beautiful academic language is in my classroom, and they might not do it at home. Don't say that though. I don't want you guys to get in trouble or parents to complain to you, right? Like, how dare you say that? But I can say that. So I'm really trying to encourage all of my students to give me full, complete academic sentences. So we're going to stop here now. We went over these four, gestures. Which one's really working in your classroom and why? 'Cause this is our opportunity to share with our fellow teachers what's really working and why. You got 1 minute, go. All right, Miss Redfern, go ahead and let's get ready to unmute yourself and have one person yell out and share with everybody else, please. I want to hear a little bit of feedback. Go ahead.
Michaela, would you like to share for them?
We've been using complete sentences. We're just talking about your 5 and 6s, and we've said initially it takes a long time for them to really rehearse it and get into it. But we found that it's actually improved their written responses as well, and they've rehearsed it orally. So your lessons take longer, but it's better outcomes.
Yes, and yes, they do take longer. That's okay, but what are we doing? We're rehearsing that beautiful academic language, though. That's so necessary. Thank you so much for sharing that. Let's go to our page right here. Let's put it all together now. We have our beautiful engagement norms here. A character is a person, animal, or thing in a story. Characters talk or do something. So we have our bulletproof definition. We have our definition. We've taught the gestures to our students. They know that the word is identify. So I go to my example right here. I go to my example. I begin my teaching, right? Oh, everybody, of course, this is kiddos. One day, let's, track with me. And of course, everyone, I'm going to read this story. Everyone, I'm going to read this passage. Everyone, I'm going to read this paragraph. Make sure we do lots of variables of what we're reading. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but one time a student told me I didn't answer any question on the quiz because I did not know what passage was. So ever since then, I like to make sure that we do variables. Okay, let's go here. Everyone, and of course, depending on their grade level, if they can follow along with you, great. If you need to read first and they read after you, whatever you like to do, cool, keep doing it. One day, a little girl named Josie was crying at the park. Everyone, this is Josie, and she's a character. The reason I know she's a character, right? I'm explaining my thinking out loud to my students. Josie is a person, animal, or thing, so she's a person. And she's doing something. Everyone show me doing something. Oh, we're running up, we're jumping up and down. I don't know. Oh, she's doing something that's not really fun. She's crying. Oh no. Okay, let's keep reading. I'm not sure what's gonna happen. She lost her ball. That's probably why she's crying. Oh, look at, I think we're about to have a new character. The dancing frog said, I have a gift for you, Josie. It was a new ball. Oh my gosh, a dancing frog. I know. A character is a person, animal. I know. Frogs don't have ears. Let's just pretend that Stu's just an animal or a thing in a story. It was a new ball. And I love teachable moments. Oh my gosh, guys, look at here. Quotes. Oh my gosh. The dancing frog said, I have a gift for you, Josie. I'm supposed to do a frog voice because anytime I see quotes, that means the character in the story, person, animal, or thing, is actually talking. Let me do this again. I'm so sorry, guys. The dancing frog said, I have a gift for you, Josie. Oh, I know, guys. When you read it to your partner, I want you to come up with your own frog voice because there's quotes there. Once again, teachable moment. You don't have to do stuff like that. Anytime you see stuff like that, I just go for it because I'm just giving them something extra and it's fun. Okay, up to you. All right. So a long time ago, ladies and gentlemen, it was perfectly okay to say, all right, guys, who's the character in the story? Oh, Josie, the dancing frog. Oh, awesome, guys. Let's go to break. Let's go to lunch. We can't do that anymore. So if I go here, if I go right here to this section, I'm going to highlight it right here. If I go over here, I go to my checking for understanding question. This is a NatLin standard. And if I go right here, the question is, everyone, and of course I like to stand right here. I kind of like stand, block out the screen a little bit. I'm pointing to it. Everyone, let's read this question here. They're asking us a question. Of course, they're asking us a question. The class is being asked a question. Me and my students are being asked a question. I like to switch the polarity a little bit to show that I'm with my students. Everybody always talks about test prep. This is test prep. Everyone look at here. Can the monkey be a character in a story? Explain. We're going to track with me, read with me, explain. All right, guys, what that means is they're asking us, can this monkey right here, sorry for circling too many things on the screen. Can this monkey right here be a character? I want you to think really hard about it, okay? Now, thumbs up, yes. Thumbs down, no. Can this be a character? Or if you have like red or green, whatever you got, right? Everyone, I want you to think about it. 1, 2, 3, chin it. Show me your answers. And I look around, right? Because I'm using whiteboards. I look around, or using thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever you want to do. I'm like, oh, okay. And if I'm at 60%, 75% or more, I can proceed because they're understanding the concept. They're understanding the big idea that this monkey can be a character. So I go like this. Okay, great. So this is the time where I do random selection. I'm gonna get ready to pick someone. Everyone, okay, that's right. The monkey can, that's right. This monkey can be a character. Now get ready. I'm gonna ask you to answer me. When you answer, I want you to say, monkey can be a character in a story because, and then give me your reasons why. And I'll do the hand gesture again. If I have like a chart on the wall or something, I'll point to it, something to prompt them, right? And I do my random popsicle stick, kinda. I like to fake the sticks because I need to hear the right answer first. Everyone, I need to hear the right answer first. So I call my middle performer, my buddy Miguel. Miguel, I saw that you have the right answer. Can you share the answer with everybody? Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah. And he says, yeah. I'm like, no. I need you to say the whole sentence, buddy. Oh, yeah, sorry, teacher. He doesn't even know my name. He just calls me teacher. My buddy Miguel answers me. He says, monkey can be a character in a story because he's playing the guitar. He finishes with that high pitch, right? Like he's asking me the question. I'm like, no. So all I do is I grab his answer, enhance his answer. I grab his answer, enhance his answer. Oh my gosh, Miguel, that's 100% right. A monkey can be a character in a story because he's playing guitar, because a character talks or does something, don't they? And a character can be a person, animal, or thing in a story. And then I call him my high performer. My buddy Louise. There's always a Louise in every class. She already has a cell phone, right? She's chewing gum or whatever. And she's like, monkey can be a character in a story because it's talking and doing something, duh. Everyone knows that. So all I do when I have a high performer, I switch the polarity of the question. I simply say, oh my gosh, that's 100% right. Thank you so much for being in my class and being so polite. Louise, how would this not be a character? I switch the polarity of the question and I get free extended thinking. Now, of course, I've done this lesson a couple of times in real life. And one of the kiddos were like, oh, the monkey could be dead. And I'm like, no, oh my gosh. But that was traumatic, but we got through it. Because characters can die in a story. So that was not really great. Okay. And then I call on my last one, maybe someone who changed their answer. Oh, Micah, I saw that you changed your answer. That's great. We're all learning today. I call them out when they change their answer, and I say that's a good thing because they're learning. Mike, I saw that you changed your answer. That's great. Can you share your answer with us? And he looks at me. He's like, A teacher never yields. Micah, it's okay, buddy. Hey, hey, it's okay. Micah's having a tough day. Micah's a year 1 English learner. Micah, you know what? Just repeat after me, buddy. Monkey can be a character. Repeat after me. Monkey can be a character in a story. Ladies and gentlemen, when we teach this method of instruction, this humble method of an EDI, explicit direct instruction, using our engagement norms. This definition right here, I read, they read it to their partner. We saw real life examples right here. I did my sweet, spicy hand gesture. I did my checking for understanding question using academic English. I had them pair share the answer. I had them use the whiteboard. I had my high performer go with free extended thinking. I had my middle performer go, and even my low performer went. When we teach with this method of instruction, we'll get academic rehearsals of the new, we'll get rehearsals of the new academic language 9 or 10 times. And since we're doing random sampling, we're not holding anybody back. Everyone is answering the questions every single time. We're getting 9 to 10 rehearsals of academic language and the conceptual development, that big idea that needs to happen. In our closing minute or two, and of course, Miss Redfern, Miss Redfern, you're gonna have one person call out. What's one big aha moment or takeaway from this instructional page that we saw? You have 1 minute to share. Then we're gonna call in one person, and then we're gonna be done. That was a quick hour, wasn't it? Let's go ahead. One thing you saw that you really liked, and of course, if you want to improve, knock yourself out, always improve. All right, 1 minute starting now, and then we're gonna wrap up with one question, and then we're done. All right, 5 seconds. Miss Redfern, you get ready to call someone on random, and then we'll do my last moment, and then we're done.
Pardon? Cool. Oh, Mr. Pierpont, would you like to join in and tell us what you think?
Oh, there they are. Oh my gosh, they had their Matt Pinkard's group had their thing completely down. Oh my gosh, there's a whole group of people right there. Hello, that's hey.
Ms. Shimon, would you like to share your thoughts, please?
Okay, so a key takeaway for me from the final part of the PL was I love the idea of flipping the question for your extension students. So yes, they've got the answer that you want them to have, but actually you're taking their learning further, and they have to still be switched on and not switched off because they know they've got the answer correct. I like that perspective of things. I also really love the whole change your answer on your whiteboard for your other end. Like if they haven't got it correct, but then they are listening and they're making changes and celebrating their success because they are learning and they have acknowledged, oh, actually, I need to change it to this. So I like, yeah, the fact that there's 2 ends there. Very good.
There. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much. My name has been Joel. I hope you like this. Just once again, this is stuff you're already doing. I'm just giving you some ideas and some positive energy. I know that sounds kind of weird, right? But I am from California, so that's probably our thing, right? Positive energy, but good vibes, dude. No, I don't do that, but it's okay though. Once again, humble engagement norms. We're grabbing our students, we're working with our students, we're helping them create different pathways to remember. Whatever you're teaching them will go short term to long term. I hope you had a good time today. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. And the other group over there, their microphone wasn't working. That's okay, but I got to see you for half a second, so that's cool. I hope you had a good time with this. My name has been Joel Seto. It's midnight here, and it was wonderful speaking to you all. Have a good Thanksgiving next week. We start our Thanksgiving this week. So take care, everyone. Goodbye, and thank you so much.